Hi everyone, this is Sherry with Queen City Stamper. Thanks for stopping by today, and I'm going to be sharing with you an encouragement card that I made using the Simon Says Stamp Spring Flower Stamp Set. And I'm going to be stamping my images on some Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock and using the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. So when I originally started this project, I was going to use my Zig real brush markers, but I really didn't like the intensity of the ink for this particular project. So I decided that I would be using some distress inks instead and trying to do some watercolor on the Bristol paper. I almost wish I would have used the watercolor paper, but I decided to go ahead and give it a try and use what I had already cut. So you can see me here. I'm just laying out the various images and getting them placed where I want them. Decisions, decisions. Oh, there went the camera again. And I will apologize. Early on in the video, I have a new camera, trying to work all the kinks out and learn all of the various modes. So, excuse me, throughout the video, you're going to see a few blurry spots, even a headshot, because I get my head in the way. So, while I'm stamping, some of the colors that I'm going to be using today in the Distress inks are the Wild Honey, Spice Marmalade, Worn Lipstick, Candied Apple, Twisted Citron, Mowed Lawn, and I'm going to throw in some Tumbled Glass and a little bit of Black Soot. And one last image to stamp. I don't know if I can talk for 11 minutes and 53 seconds. I don't know that I've ever talked that long. I just don't have it in me. But I'm determined not to play music. So stick with me here. Alright, so here we go. Some wild honey, spice marmalade, worn lipstick, candied apple, twisted citron, and mowed lawn. So just putting a little dab of the colors on an acrylic block, and I am taking my water brush. Lord, I lost my words. Taking the water brush, and I'm going in with a little bit of the twisted citron now for the leaf, and then I will bring back in some mowed lawn to darken it up and just to give it some fairly simple shading, and do the stems with the mowed lawn as well. Now I did cut out some of the coloring because it was getting a little bit longer than I wanted, so I didn't want to torture you with that. So here you can see I've jumped on up to the leaves up top and basically doing the same thing. I colored it all in with the twisted citron, came back and did a little bit of simple shading with the mowed lawn. And cleaning my brush, I'm going to go on to the top flower. I take that back. I'm going to do the little curlicue first with the twisted citron. Now I'm going back into the top flower, and I'm just going to put down a base layer of worn lipstick, keeping it somewhat light. And then I'll come back in with the candied apple, and just to give it a little bit of a deeper color towards the bottom again, just like the leaves, very simple shading. I just love this stamp set. I've had it for, well, since its release in early spring. But life and the full-time job get in the way, and no time for crafting. So here I'm trying to smooth out those lines a little bit. Don't want the hard edges. Clean our brush again, and we'll move on down to the lower flower. So I'm giving it a base layer of the wild honey, and then I will come back in with the spiced marmalade just to give it a little bit of depth and shading down towards the bottom. And after the coloring is finished, well, the coloring of the flowers, basically, I did decide a little bit later to come back in with some tumbled glass and put some of that around the flowers and across the front. I'm thinking this is probably where I did lose a little bit of footage. Um, After I did, excuse me, the tumbled glass, I used the Simon Says Stamp Stitch Rectangle dies and trimmed up my panel. I did give it a dry a little bit. The Bristol wanted to start buckling from the paper getting so wet in some of the areas. So here's where I came in and did the tumbled glass, and then I took black soot and sprinkled it from my brush across the front. And now I'm going in with a black gel pen, and I'm just adding a little bit of color to the dash lines. I thought they got lost in the coloring process. And now I'm coming back in with a white gel pen and adding a little bit of dot detail. It just adds that little bit of extra oomph to the design. So I'm going to do that in both the flowers, and essentially I'm going around or to the inside of the black dashed lines. And then you will see me go up the right side of the tall leaf. So then I took the Painted Hugs die from Simon Says Stamp and some black cardstock, and I cut it out 4 times, and then I stacked all 4 on top of one another. Just used my glue pen, and then placed an acrylic block on it. And while that dried, I used some white fun foam that was cut a little smaller than the panel and put it on the back. That helped straighten it out quite a bit from where it buckled due to the water. And so here I'm testing it out on a piece of pink cardstock. It is a retire color, but any pink that matches your flower will do, or yellow for that matter, whatever you prefer. And it's about 1/8 of an inch larger all the way around than my panel. And then I'm going to put that on my card base, which is some Nina 110-pound cardstock. So I'm placing that down. Then I'm going to glue down my hugs. Again, using the acrylic block to hold it down. And of course, we have to add some sequins. These are I'm still using the Easter mix from Pretty Pink Posh. So I picked out a couple of pink and a couple of the yellow ones. And then I used the Ranger Multimedia Matte to adhere them to the front of the card. So I actually decided that I would put something on the inside of this card. So I decided to use the Friendship Blooms stamp set, which was also a new spring release from Simon Says Stamp. And we're going to use that Sending Hugs and Prayers to stamp on the inside. Again, using the Intense Black ink. I appreciate you joining me today. I hope that I've encouraged you to go do something crafty.